Hey kids, Dr. Rose here with yet another form of a linear equation. We have just been learning all kinds of different forms that we can write equations and their usefulness. Today you are going to learn about the standard form, but the applications for this aren't coming until a future chapter. But since you are learning all of these different ways to manipulate equations, this is an appropriate place to learn about standard form. And so, again, disclaimer, like all my lessons, this won't be a perfect lesson, but I'll do my best to be a support for my students from home. Of course, if you have questions, you can always email or get a hold of me in class. Different teachers might teach this differently, and these are just the high points, and that's okay for us. So, we are going to write an equation in standard form. Standard form is this. ax plus by equals c. A and b are always going to be a whole number, but the x and y are just going to be x and y, literally. Okay, so these are going to be whole numbers. And then a must always be positive. If it's not positive, of course, you can switch the signs by multiplying the whole thing by a -1. So let's just jump in real easy and rewrite these equations that are in slope-intercept form in standard form. So again, we want our x's, our y's, and then our constant. So we want x's to be up first. So to move positive 2x's to the left, we subtract 2x's, and we have -2x's, and y equals -1. So we have our x's, our y's, our constant. A and b, -2 and 1, are real numbers. But the problem is that my leading coefficient is negative. So to fix that, we will multiply both sides by -1. Or the shortcut is just flip all the signs going all the way across. So -2x becomes +2x. Positive y becomes -y. -1 becomes 1. And so these two have the same value, they're just a different form. Kind of like $1.04. They're the same value, they just take on a different form. Okay, let's try another one. So we have to bring our x's over again. Ooh, fractions. I love fractions. That might have been sarcasm. No. Okay, so now we have a fraction. How do I put this into a whole number? Well, wouldn't it be nice if we had sorry, I got distracted a second. There was a train that went by. Okay, you might feel the compulsion to multiply this by the reciprocal, so -5/2, and that would turn this into a singular x, and that would be fine. But if you then multiply this -3 by 5/2, oftentimes that's going to be messy and give you another fraction. So my recommendation is to just multiply it by -5, just by the denominator. What's in the denominator? Okay, so a negative times a negative is a positive. This would be 10/5, which is 2x minus a -5 times y is -5y equals, remember what I do on one side, I do to the other side. Negative times a negative is a positive. 3 times 5 is 15. And so I have my x's, my y's, my constant, so that fulfills one rule. These are both whole numbers, and my leading coefficient is positive, so we're good. It is okay that this one is negative. All right, let's try another one. Again, I want my x's to be to the left. So I have -half an x, and y is 8. So I'm going to multiply all of this by -2. So negative times a negative is a positive. Half of 2 is 1. Minus 2y equals -16. Yeah. X's, then y's, then constant. Positive. That's good. And whole numbers. So this one's good. Good job. Okay, So now we're going to ramp this up just a little bit. On the back page, we're gonna get crazy, but we'll do this intermediary step first. So now let's write an equation in standard form of a line that passes through -4 and 3 and has a slope of 2. So remember, you can use this, you can accomplish this using the slope-intercept form. That was from last chapter, or you can use point slope form, which is what you just learned in our previous lesson. So let's do it both ways here. So this is x and y and b. So you could say 3 equals 2 -4s plus b, or 3 equals -8 plus b. Add the 8 to get 11 is b. So you could say y equals 2x plus 11. And then we put it in standard form. Subtract over the 2x. -2x and y equals 11. What's the problem with this? Yeah, it needs to be 2x plus y equals 11. Now we can accomplish the same exact thing using point slope form. I didn't want to confuse you before putting all of this in one spot in our previous lesson, but now we're going to put it all together so you can see that they accomplish the same thing. So y minus 3 equals m times x minus x1. Remember, this is the one place where you can do without the parentheses so that it isn't so confusing. Okay, and distributive property. So y minus 3 is 2x plus 8. And we want this in standard form. So add the 3. So y equals 2x plus 11. Bring the x's to the left. So -2x and y equals 11. And flip the signs, which is multiplying each side by a negative. Okay, and I was saying, and so we get 2x minus y equals -11. And I told you these lessons aren't perfect. When I went back and I looked at this, I was quite alarmed because I'm supposed to be teaching the children and I have different solutions. This is a way that you can check yourself. So I don't hide mistakes. I use them to promote critical thinking. So why are my answers different? Well, something is wrong. Can you find the error? Took me a second. It's actually on the left side. When I changed my signs here, I turned my negative to a positive. So I should have moved this into a negative and that into a negative. And now they match. Sorry about that, kids. Sometimes that happens. And I don't mind it because I like for us to learn from our mistakes and not pretend that people are perfect. Okay. It is a little embarrassing if you're the teacher, but you know me, I'm not going to pretend. Okay, here comes the big challenge. It's going to be amazing. I double dog dare you to go ahead of me and try to see how far you can get on your very own. Okay, so I'm going to assume that you do that. Here we go. We are going to write an equation in standard form that passes through these 2 points, 5 and 2, -1 and 3. What shall we do first? Yes, slope-intercept form. So, our slope. Yes, let's calculate our slope. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. x1, y1, x2, y2. So that becomes 3 minus 2 over -1 minus 5, which is 1 over negative 6, a slope of negative 1/6. All right, now, does it matter which of these 2 points we move from this point forward? No, it doesn't. Does it matter if we use slope-intercept form or point-slope form? Those are the 2 forms that we did previously in our notes. Does it matter which of those 2 forms we use? No, because they'll give us the same solution if we do it right. So it doesn't matter there. Okay. Now this would be the time in class where I would challenge half of the class to do it one way and half of the class to do it the other way. My challenge for you, listener at home, is to do it both ways to see if you get the same solution. So go ahead and pause, see what you can do. Okay, here we go. So this time we're going to use slope-intercept form. So x and y. And we said the slope was negative 1/6. So y is 2 equals negative 1/6 5 plus b. Oh, ugly fraction. I can see it already. 2 equals negative 5/6 plus b. Add 5/6, add 5/6. So we get 2 and 5/6 equals b. b equals 2 and 5/6. So therefore our equation is y equals negative 1/6 x plus 2 and 5/6. Okay, but are we going for slope-intercept form? No, we want standard form. So let's move our x's over, add a 1/6 x, add a 1/6 x. So 1/6 of an x and y is 2 and 5/6. Positive x's and y's equal our constant, but what's our problem? This needs to be a real number. So multiply everything by 6, because that's what the denominator is. A 6 of 6 is a singular x plus 6y equals 17. Okay. Shall we do the other side? See if we get, I hope we get the same thing. I'd feel awfully foolish if I made 2 mistakes in a row. Okay, now we're going to use point-slope form. This guy, the new one, okay? So y minus x1, y1. 2 equals negative 1/6 x minus 5. Y minus 2 equals negative 1/6 of an x plus 5/6. Whew. Let's add 2. So y is negative 1/6 of an x plus 2 and 5/6. Need to move the x's to the left. Whew, this is long. So 1/6 of an x and y is 2 and 5/6. And what do we multiply by? 6. Ooh, guys, look. I think it's going to come out to be the same. Voila. They're the same. Fabulous job. This is hard stuff, guys. I'm proud of you. And you should be proud of you too. This is not easy by any means. Okay. Here we go. For this is your homework, by the way. Sorry. For this, you are going to write each of these in standard form. This might be confusing to you for a couple reasons. First of all, several of them are equal to 0. I'm just going to write number 2 up here. So negative 4y plus 6x plus 7 equals 0. So this section is really testing to see if you remember all the rules for writing numbers in standard form. So remember, the constant needs to be on the right. Negative 4y plus 6x equals negative 7. And then do you see what's wrong with it? Yeah, this leading coefficient has to be positive. So it would turn into 4y minus 6x equals 7. And so this is what you would squeeze in here, in that itty bitty little space. Good luck with that. Right, another thing that might be confusing for students is when there is only 2 of the 3 components of standard form. So this one here doesn't have a y. So how do we write this in standard form? Remember, it goes the x's and then the y's equal the constant, right? Well, here's the x. There's no y, so we can simply move the constant to the other side. So these cancel out, equals -7. And so as long as my leading coefficient is positive, this is standard form of this equation. It would go there. That one's kind of tricky. Okay, so that one's going to affect this one and this one too. Okay. Okay, the next section says, write the standard form of the equation of a line that passes through the given point and has the given slope. So you are going to use the example that we did at the bottom of this page to help you with this section. And then this last section, write the standard form of an equation of a line that passes through the 2 points. That is where you are going to use the whole back page of our notes. All right. Okay, I would like you to skip the publicity question, but I do want you to please attempt the canning jars. I don't want to give you too much help. I'd like for you to please attempt it on your own. I will only give you one hint. This one will be X, this one will be Y, and I'm only telling you that because sometimes the wording of this question is goofy. So good luck with that. Have fun with it. Don't get frustrated, persevere. So, as always, if you have any lingering questions, do not hesitate to email me. Always happy to help. Okay, guys. Thanks a bunch, and I'll see you in class. Bye.